on, you guys? It's your girl Diana, back at you with another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be going over the location of all of the biomes where each of the Paradox Pokemon spawn down in Area 0. So whether you're a shiny hunter and you're trying to see where you can find the most of a particular Paradox Pokemon so that you can shiny hunt your favorite one, or maybe there's just one or two that might be eluding you, then just keep on watching and make sure that you subscribe so that you're always up to date on the latest Pokemon news. And if you are a Pokemon fan, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up so that we can push out into the YouTube algorithm so that more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet fans can see it. And if you would like another way to support the channel, please feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all of my other socials so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. I have also linked copies of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on my Amazon storefront if you are still on the hunt for yours or trying to look for a Christmas present for a loved one. But let's go ahead and hop into where you can find all of the Paradox Pokemon. So I did want to start off this video by saying you don't actually have a map that you're able to reference when you're down in Area 0. So you do have to go based off of either landmarks like the research stations or just what the surrounding area looks like. So for the first couple of Paradox Pokemon, I am in what's known as the grassy biome, and I'm next to research station number 2. And if you have Scarlet like me, this is where you're going to find Screamtail spawning as well as Brute Bonnet, and not this Braviary literally trying to attack me. But if you have Violet, this is where you're going to be able to find Iron Hands and Iron Bundle. And all 4 of these Pokemon do also spawn down in the underground area of Area 0 as well. So if you are having trouble finding them in the grassy biome, you can always go down to the lowest level and they'll spawn there too. But before we go down there, I'll show you all of the other areas where you're able to find the Paradox Pokemon without going all the way down to the bottom. Another Paradox Pokemon that also spawns in the grassy biome is Slitherwing. As you can see, there's one right in front of me. I'm actually next to Research Station 1 because for me personally in Scarlet, this is literally where I see the most Slitherwings. They literally spawn the second that I step out of the research station, but you're also able to find Iron Moth, which is its Violet counterpart in the grassy biome as well. I may be a little biased though, but I do kind of like the way that Slitherwing looks a little bit more than Iron Moth. And as you can see, since we're still in the grassy biome, we also have a Screamtail spawning here for us as well. And I'm sure as we keep going down the path, we'll probably see some more Screamtails and Brute Bonnets. So there's actually a pretty large area where you are able to find a lot of these Paradox Pokemon. This next location is going to be exclusive to Sandy Shocks, since obviously Violet players do not have Sandy Shocks available to them in-game, but where Sandy Shocks is located is the Rocky Biome. So I'm actually right above Research Station 1, and right next to this big patch of rocks and dirt, clearly there is a bunch of Sandy Shocks looking to absolutely annihilate me. So this is where you're going to find Sandy Shocks. Sandy Shocks is actually the hardest one for me to find because I had no idea what the Rocky Biome was until I looked up from Research Station Area 1 and I saw a big like cliffside where there was like a clearing and then of course a big face of rocks, and so I was like, you know what, let's take a look up there, see if I find it. And I found it. And you can literally just climb up the little cliff face over here. It's right next to the tree that's next to the research station. If you just go up this little like ramp looking thing, you do have to climb up it, you can't just run up it, but this is where I was able to find Sandy Shocks in Pokemon Scarlet. For my Violet players, however, if you are looking for Iron Jugulis, it does spawn in caves, and there is a little cave right next to Research Station number 3 on the right-hand side. And I'm talking about like normal caves, I'm not talking about like the underground. So you can just walk in here, and if you have Violet, you should be able to find some of the Iron Jugulises spawning. Research Station number 3 is also right in front of the entrance to the underground, but we're not there quite yet, because first we have to go to a very special cave where you can find Roaring Moon if you have Scarlet and Iron Valiant if you have Violet, which is to the left of Research Station number 3. So we're gonna go ahead and just run over here towards this big tree, and there should be like a little rock face that kind of sticks out in front of the tree. And then if you look to your left from the tree, you should see that there's some boulders, and you can actually sneak in between these boulders, and there's a huge cave that's hidden behind these boulders. And as you can see, there's already a Roaring Moon waiting for me because I have Scarlet. But this is where you're gonna find Roaring Moon if you play Scarlet, and like I said, if you have Violet, you'll be able to find Iron Valiant in here. This is also a great place to train if you want to knock out a bunch of Chanseys, because Chanseys spawn here like candy. So Roaring Moon and Iron Valiant can be found in the hidden cave to the left of Research Station Area 3. Also, if you guys have any theories on what these markings on the ground mean, because they literally make like a big design if you go to the top of the cave, let me know because I'm curious and I would like to know what these markings mean. And now, lastly, we are finally in the underground of Area 0, and this is where you're going to be able to find Great Tusk, like you can see right in front of me, and also Iron Treads, and also Iron Thorns and Fluttermane. However, keep in mind that for Scarlet players, if you are looking for Fluttermane, Fluttermane doesn't actually spawn during the day. It only spawns at night. But if it is nighttime, the best place to find Fluttermanes in Scarlet is if you actually jump down to the very bottom where all the water is, in between all of the big crystals. And you're gonna see them spawn kind of where these Glamoras are. So you can't check your map while you're in Area 0. So the best way to check what time it is so that you can see if your Fluttermanes are going to be spawning is by going to Medali. So let me go ahead and demonstrate quickly. So we're gonna go ahead and fly out of Area 0 over to Medali. And once you're in Medali and you're able to use your map again, if you pull up your map, you'll see at the very top, it has a little sun, and that means that it's currently daytime. So if I were to go down to Area 0 right now, like you just saw, there would be no Fluttermane spawning. However, if it was nighttime, you would see Fluttermane spawning throughout the underground of Area 0. They don't only spawn in that watery area, they spawn on the trail leading down to the very bottom as well. But if you're trying to look for a bunch of them in like a very small spot, definitely try the very bottom floor of the underground. And if you're not in post-game just yet, but you still want to get your hands on a Paradox Pokemon, you can do that by beating the Titan, which is over in the Asado Desert, which for Scarlet players is going to be Great Tusk, and for Violet players is going to be Iron Treads. All the Titans are actually catchable after you defeat them in their like normal sized forms. I already caught my Great Tusk, so mine's not going to be there, but they're usually in the exact same spot where they were when you defeated them as Titans. So if you just started the game and you want your bragging rights and you want to say that you already have a Paradox Pokemon, you can also get one early as well. But that is going to be where you find all of the Paradox Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye!